In altered states of consciousness, we may access valuable and useful information, which may be of fundamental importance to humanity.
I had Lawrence Krauss in here, and he did the movie with Richard Dawkins, The Unbelievers. And
right.
I think both of them have this theory that, you know, the consciousness, there really isn't anything more to it from a scientific viewpoint. And
they need to go take some DMT.
Everyone who's done a high dose of psychedelic drugs has had this experience. So everyone who's listening to you right now who's done DMT or done 5 grams of psilocybin, they know that this is you have some kind of communication with something else. The question is that something else inside your psyche, or is that something else a chemical doorway? Question. Is there a chemical doorway inside the mind that opens up, and the belief is that when you die, and this is what the afterlife is, that when you die, your brain produces these chemicals open up this doorway, and this is the portal to the next dimension.
I have heard that I have talked to Army generals, commanding generals, major generals, generals, CIA, everybody, and they're all 100%. And I thought it was a psyop before, and then I've researched it. I've talked to hundreds of people now, not on air, but I'm going to make a film on this, who've taken ayahuasca and DMT. I've not taken it, and for obvious reasons, and it's unbelievable because, I mean, they 100% in San Francisco is the main project site, literally have an alien base, and they are literally communicating, and they've got like astronaut level people taking super hardcore levels of drugs and going into meetings with these things and making intergalactic deals. And again, that's what the government believes and says they're doing.
When you say the government, that's a broad stroke. You're painting you're using a broad brush. Like, what do you mean by the government?
Breakaway rogue intelligence agencies.
Okay, so what you're saying is essentially that they're using psychedelic drugs to communicate with interdimensional beings. All right.
Me getting into this, Joe, is just because so people need to understand that I've known about this for a long time. And I just don't think people are ready for it.
It was actually a horrible experience. That
really?
that was my worst. Yeah.
I had a great experience on
You
it.
did?
Yeah.
You take like one puff, and before you exhale, there's a synthetic version too, right? I was taking the venom. You're shot out of a cannon. There's no lead up. It's no warm up. It's like, boom. And I felt like I was actually like strapped to the outside of a rocket, going through space and through clouds, and like the G-forces pulling down my cheeks. And it was just this mental storm without nothing to orient myself. There was no space. There was no time. There was no self. And it was just unendurable, this punishing roar in my ears. It was horrible. It was terrifying.
9 times out of 10, I wrote about research projects in San Francisco. UT has some, MIT has a lot.
The intention is to use this technology to explore and map the DMT realm. It looks like Imperial College London is going to deploy this technology in further research into DMT.
DMT를 이용해서 다른 차원의 지도를 만드는 연구는 실제로 임페리얼 대학에서 진행 중에 있습니다.
It's going to be an investigation into the nature of reality using a psychedelic, the mysterious nature of reality. And it is odd, and you know this from personal experience, that when you get plunged into that DMT realm, it is so different from the realm of our daily world, filled with geometry, filled with these sprightly intelligences, completely internally coherent. How can that be, generated by the brain? Or are we dealing with some other level of reality that we haven't encountered yet? I think that ancient cultures, and in particular my lost civilization, were deeply involved in exploring the mysterious nature of reality.
The elite, okay, and most of these old men you see at Bilderberg, there's a reason they're all whacked out of their minds. They're taking DMT. You think they're all a bunch of old men? They're empowered because they were into this stuff 70 years ago. They were jacking DMT 70 years ago. Their whole science is way ahead. We don't even know what they've got.
DMT is interesting in that, first of all, it's very quick. The experience is only about 15 minutes, 20 minutes max. And it's not necessary It's not an intoxicant in the way that you would think about traditionally. You are still you in the face of this experience. I think it's some sort of a chemical gateway. That's what I think. I think there's a gateway in your mind that can lead to some other dimension that's probably there all the time.
The chemistry of their brain, which is the organ of consciousness, was being changed by DMT in such a way that they could then receive information that we weren't able to receive normally.
It just rips that filtering mechanism away for a few minutes, and for a few minutes you're immersed in sort of this raw data sphere.
That was the most profound aspect. Like all of this stuff that you concentrate on every day is nonsense. And there is some other thing that's connected that's probably influencing this world.
Yeah.
And it's probably what people see when they have near-death experiences, the depictions of the afterlife. I mean, that's probably what it all is. Scholars in Jerusalem are connecting Moses' experience with the burning bush to the acacia tree, which is rich in DMT. The burning bush is what God was to Moses. And that through this burning bush, he came out with these 10 commandments of how people should live their lives. I mean, that easily could have been just a very convoluted sort of translation of a DMT trip. Cottonwood Research Foundation, they did a series of tests with rats, and they proved that live rats have DMT produced by the pineal gland.
Really?
Know that your lungs produce it and your liver produces it. That's a fact.
Really?
So your body's producing DMT, 100%.
These substances are tools that can be used to expand awareness in all areas of life and apply that expanded awareness for the betterment of people's lives.
I've been told that you were born again, basically, 3 or 4 months ago, that you found a place where, and I'd like you to explain this to me, the toad. I'd like you to explain the toad to me.
The toad, and it's in the Sonora Desert and has the venom in it. And you smoke it. Once I tried it, boom! Everything just went so fast. And when I fell out, the only thing I was conscious about, I was out. My brain was still functioning, my thoughts, I could still talk to myself, I could hear my mind, and I was saying, I fucked up. And I killed myself.
Because you killed the ego.
I'm dying. It was just really mind-blowing.
Spiritual in nature, though, right? Like you're just...
Yeah, really, my whole life totally changed. It sounds like a movie script, but it's really the real deal. It lasts forever, but it was only 15 minutes. But it felt like hours. And it was frightening.
Because of that ego thing, because you realize you're small all of a sudden.
Yeah, once I realized that I'm nothing, I realized all my fancy clothes, my big car. So when you think you know everything, and then you realize you don't know anything, that's a big awakening. You can call it growth or you can call it divine intervention. It was just the death of your ego. When your ego died, I felt so naked and afraid at that particular time because that's all I really had when you really think about it was my ego.
각국 정부들과 많은 미국의 과학자들은 DMT에 대한 연구를 하고 있습니다. DMT는 수천 년간 고대 문명들이 의식에 사용하던 물질이고 지금은 미국 정부 요원들과 실리콘밸리의 CEO들이 애용하고 있습니다. 사람의 몸에서도 생산이 되고 우리 주변의 모든 동식물에서 발견되는 흔한 물질이지만 일반인들은 사용 금지된 물질입니다. 엘리트들이 애용하지만 금지된 물질인 DMT. 과연 이 영상에 나온 사람들의 주장처럼 다른 차원을 경험하게 해주는 물질일까요? 아니면 그저 거짓말일까요? 여러분의 의견이 궁금합니다. 시청해 주셔서 감사합니다.